Very recently, Commander Maligno from the Anti-Xeno Initiative managed something quite amazing. Over a almost 7-hour-long fight, he managed to take down single-handedly no less than 8 Thargoid Interceptors in a single fight. I was lucky enough to get a small interview with him where we talked over the fight and some of the tactics and the ship that he's been using. And that interview is what I'm going to show you today. Today's video is brought to you by GameGlass. GameGlass allows you to take control of your ship from a tablet or a phone. But not only that, it can also give you on-screen information about systems, targets and the market around you. So gone are the days where you have no room for all your key bindings or you have to alt-tab out of the game just to look up market data. Follow the link in the video description and try GameGlass for free. If you like it and want more shards or features, you can either buy them individually or subscribe to GlassPass. Use offer code DTA and get 5% on any purchase. Okay, so here we have the fight. Let's talk me through it here. I can see we're just starting up here. You have, what is that, 4 right now? Thargoids in front of us?
Yeah, these are 4 Thargoid Interceptors. The leader there is a Hydra, and it's accompanied by 3 Basilisks. And what I did at the start of the video was dump 64 meta alloys into the instance. And I actually made my ship spin so that it would spread the meta alloys so that each of them would get their own batch and not fight over it.
Ah yeah, so they're like in a nice little circle there. And why are you launching meta alloys? Is that to distract them?
Because what happens is we've known since Thargoids made return that if you give them 5 meta alloys, they are compelled to summon a Cyclops. Now normally in a regular instance, like a non-human signal source, they only summon 1 Cyclops. But there's something about high prediction instances that something's cookie, I don't know what it is, but each interceptor is eligible to summon its own Cyclops. And that's something I discovered 2 or 3 months ago because I was out to try to fight 5 interceptors at the same time. So I figured, let me just drop a few meta alloys, but then I discovered that each interceptor wants to summon its own Cyclops, so that was a big surprise. By the way, what I've done here...
Yeah, I can see that. Now they all arrived.
Exactly, and you can see that I've used my field neutralizer to block the electromagnetic pulses from each of the new arrivals. And so basically what happened here was that I was able to hold the button for long enough to block all 4 amps that were emitted. So I got very lucky with that, by the way.
Yeah, there was not a lot of leeway there in terms of timing between the first one and the last one and the time you had. That's a really close call. So right now you have, just to recap, you have 8 Interceptors on field, 1 Hydra, 3 Medusas and 4 Cyclops, right?
4 Cyclopes, that's right.
Perfect, okay. So that's 8 versus 1 at the moment.
Exactly. And so what I'm trying to do here, if you can see, I've got a beam laser that I'm using to tag each interceptor because, again, the instance is kind of weird. You have to aggro, like draw aggro explicitly from each interceptor. Otherwise, they'll ignore you. They'll just keep on eating the meta alloys and then jump away and not pay attention to you.
Okay, so it's like a long-range beam just to tag and pull aggro.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes. That's actually go ahead.
I noticed you're running shieldless here, switching silent running on and off. I assume that's to be less.
Basically, yeah. So we've found out actually. Gluttony Fang did this many years ago. Actually, he discovered that when you either run cold, when your temperature is below 20%, or when you have silent running, the main cannon of the interceptor cannot acquire you as a target, and so they miss their shots. And so throughout the video, I'm either running cold, I'm spamming heat sinks, or I'm running silent running. And so that's the kind of part of the meta right now to kill a lot of these Thargoids, is to run cold while attacking them.
Okay, that makes sense why you're then running shieldless, because obviously if you're turning silent running, you would kill your shields. I just noticed the insane amount of of Thargoids on field right now. You're not dealing with those at all.
That's right, and in previous fights of this kind, I've actually tried to pare down the Thargons. But in this fight, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try to evade them. You know, they're a pain in the neck, but I'm sufficiently skilled, and you know, I know how to boost around that I can avoid their fire. And actually, I'm glad I did that because, you know, mats are a conserved quantity in this game, and I was trying to conserve flak ammo. And so here what I'm doing is I'm concentrating on one interceptor, and I'm trying to kill them one by one.
Yeah, you can see that they're basically not firing at you. It's only the Thargon swarms at the moment. That's because you're running so cold that they can't really target you, I assume.
Right. And I should say that if you're running cold and you actually run into within 15 degrees of their bore sight, they can actually still acquire you as a target. But so I'm trying to boost around in such a way that I stay out of their bore sight, the bore sight of their main cannon.
Yeah, so that's, you just don't want to stay right in front of them because then they can still acquire you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Makes sense. And you're not running, you're doing this basically like purely by eye. I can see you do not have the Thargoids scanned with a CMDR scanner. That would be impossible,
exactly.
I would assume, in such a situation to scan all of them.
That's right. It's just in this kind of situations, there's simply no time. It is an impractical thing. Thankfully, the heart, once it gets exerted, it glows.
Yeah, so it's a visual clue.
Right.
Yeah. I'm noticing that you're running, like a lot of the time, you're running FA off, and you're keeping that thing rock steady on the hearts. I mean, right now you're keeping that like better on target than I do when I run FA on. That's quite an amazing flying there. I'm really impressed with that.
Thank you. You know, there was a time when I was an FA on pilot, but eventually I hit a skill ceiling with it, and my wingmates in the Anti-Sino initiative urged me to become an FA off expert because that would allow me to reach an even higher skill ceiling, and so I went for it, and it's like playing a different game. Almost.
I can imagine, yeah. Talk us through the build here, because I think this would be quite different, because obviously you must be running some quite heat-efficient power plants, I assume, to try to mitigate some of the heat.
Right, exactly, yes. You got a good point there. So what I'm first of all, I'm flying an Imperial Clipper, and I just want to say real quick that the Imperial Clipper is one of the worst anti-Xeno ships in the game. Do not start playing with this ship because it sucks. Why does it suck? Because it has horrible fixed weapon convergence. So what I did was, for the challenge, you know, I'm basically doing this for the challenge. I'm running an eye clipper with an armored power plant, so that, you know, I'm getting fired upon directly to my hull. So I want to have a power plant that's efficient, and but it's armored, so you can get that with the armored blueprint. And I'm running one flak launcher to later on take down the swarm. I'm running 2 Gauss cannons, and I'm running a long-range thermal bent beam that allows me to stay cold when I don't have heat sinks. Yes.
Yeah, so the beam laser is actually running double duty. You both use it at the beginning to attack, but also to mitigate heat later on in the fight.
Exactly. And you know what happens is eventually you run out of heat sinks, and it's good to hit the Thargoids with the beam laser to stay cold and therefore out of the radar, so to speak. And you know, that gives me time to boost away and rearm and repair.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Remind me again, the weapon loadout on the Clipper.
Right. So the weapon loadout is 1 long-range beam laser, 2 Gauss cannons, Guardian Gauss cannons, and 1 flak launcher.
Okay, so
remote release flak launcher.
Yeah, okay, so you do have because I thought it would have 4 hard points, but I could only see 2.
Yes,
2
okay,
cannons.
I can explain my reasoning behind that. Recently, one of our fellow Anti-Xeno commanders computed the number of shots required to exert a hard of each Thargoid, and he basically, by running his numbers, I concluded that there isn't that big a difference between running 3 Gauss cannons and running 2.
So the whole fight here took like almost 7 hours. So this is obviously a very, very boiled down version, and the one we're watching now is going to be even more boiled down than the one you have on your channel.
Exactly. Yes.
I noticed here doing one of the clips that you increase armor at some point. You have armor repair limpets with you?
Yes, that is essential for this kind of fight. It's part of the meta right now. Like for this kinds of fights, even though I'm running cold and even though sometimes I go into silent running, there's gonna be fire that I cannot control. You know, I'm gonna be getting damaged anyway. And so repair limpets allow me to recover armor, you know, in between attack runs.
So yeah, you just boost away, go FA off, and then just because you were probably the Clipper is quite a fast ship, so you're probably faster than any of the Goids anyway.
Yes, exactly. The boost speed, I can outrun anything with this ship. Additionally, later on in the fight, once I'm fighting one-on-one with the Hydra, the Clipper has one redeeming quality, and that is that it can drift with FA off at something like 490 meters per second, like 475, which by default, it outpaces the Hydra, it outpaces the Cyclops, and it outpaces Medusas as well. So the only one that it cannot outpace while drifting in FA off is the Basilisk. But later on...
You have no Basilisk
right,
here, so that's perfect.
Right. Eventually, you know, once I defeat everything here, it's going to be just me and the Hydra, and there's not going to be any Basilisks. But, so yeah, during that time, you know, I can drift away, not get fired upon, and I can take my time repairing my ship.
And normally when you fight the Thargoids, they will have a tendency to use special weapons like corrosive missiles and that kind of stuff. But whenever you're taking down a heart and you just boost away and wait for them to use that that ability, or how do you deal with that?
Well, okay, so here's another little fun fact about caustic missiles and electromagnetic pulses. Once you defeat a hard, if you're running cold or you're 3 kilometers away from the Thargoid, it will not do its special attack. And so you can avoid those special attacks if you move quickly or if you're running cold. So in other fighting scenarios, I don't even bother putting a shutdown field neutralizer because I don't have to deal with the amp. What I should note that the reason why I'm running a shutdown field neutralizer in this case is because when you first drop into the instance, you have to block the amp from the Hydra. Otherwise, while you're shut down, it'll lose interest in you and simply jump away. And so that's the whole point of running the shutdown field neutralizer here. Otherwise, most people actually don't even use it because they can avoid the electromagnetic pulse and they can avoid other special attacks by simply running away or running cold.
Yeah, so you could just fire off, whenever you take down a heart, just fire off heat sink and you should be good.
You're probably wondering how the hell was I able to do this for 7 hours? Well, I did... Okay, this is actually the last heart that we're on, but I'll just tell you real quick that I was able to take breaks here and there and, you know, eat a pizza or something while my ship was repairing. And stuff like that. So I did go to the bathroom. I did do all that good stuff, and I have experience with this. I've done many long fights like this before.
I like the fact you just like they have one of the most difficult Thargoid ships hunting you down while just sitting there eating a pizza or taking a bathroom like break, just nonchalant. But again, you're utilizing the fact you can go FA off and just boost in that direction, and you will be outpacing everything on the field.
Exactly. Everything on the field except the Basilisk, but at this point everything else is gone. So yeah, you know, I can basically what I did was I put myself at 9.5 kilometers from the Thargoid, set my speed at 434 meters per second, and that was enough for me to stay steady at a steady range and not incur any damage.
Yeah, and I think we're coming up. Yeah, we have the last Hydra exploding. Yeah. And there we go, 15 million and a bounty, and that was just shy of 7 hours fighting with 1 commander versus 8 Thargoid Interceptors. Absolutely beautiful. Thanks a lot for taking the time to have a chat with me. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this. I've been a long-time subscriber and a fan of your work. You know, you've done a lot for the community, and you've actually inspired me to do some science in the game. That's a whole other subject, but so thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.